Hi, my name is Kristen Kaufman. Welcome. You have joined us for Have a Seat with Kristen. We come on here every couple of days to share tips and techniques to help people become the most effective leaders that they can be. About 16 years ago, I left corporate and as an executive to become an entrepreneur. And I founded my company by the name of Alignment to help individuals, teams, groups, and organizations become aligned, because I do believe that when we are aligned, we are most certainly at our most powerful and we certainly are at our most effective. So for the last several days, I've actually been sharing tips on how we can better market ourselves. And this was actually at a request of my clients who really wanted to hone in on how they can stand out, how they can really have their work and their contributions be recognized and to be appreciated, whether it be in corporate or whether it be as an entrepreneur or a small business owner, or in some cases in education or in nonprofit, in the nonprofit arena. So over the last several days, I've covered how to stand out and all about the concept of being current and being relevant to your industry. The second point was how to have meaningful mentoring. Specifically, we are the company we keep, and how can we most effectively choose those people and be of benefit to them and vice versa. The third tip was how to network in an effective way, how to network for real, and some really basic but yet very pivotal points on how we can make that happen. And then confidence, the fourth tip was confidence being the backbone to everything, and how when we show up being comfortable in our own skin, that by default will distinguish you from so many people in corporate and in any business arena. So today I'm going to actually talk about the fifth tip. There's six in total. This is my fifth tip. And this is all about what I'm going to call a non-negotiable when it comes to standing out, whether it be in corporate, in a small business, as an entrepreneur, or in any arena in which you are contributing. And that non-negotiable is being trustworthy and developing that trust. Because when we are able to develop trust and have a reputation for being trustworthy, people will clamor to work with you, work for you, support you, and basically you separate yourself because you have established a brand that is anchored in trust. And I know that sounds incredibly basic, but I will tell you, in my 30 plus years in corporate and in business in general, the multitude of individuals who are not trustworthy, who do not, what I'm going to call, follow the four agreements, that wonderful book that I reference a lot in my trainings, written by Ruiz. And one of the four agreements is to be impeccable with your word. And there are so many people who are not. They will give you just a little bit of the information, or it's like holding back an ingredient on a recipe. They don't share everything with you. So we're going to talk a little bit about trust. And I will reference, the first thing I want to reference is the wonderful book by Stephen Covey, The Speed of Trust. And if you've not read that book, definitely consider buying it and putting it on your must-read list. The Speed of Trust, I actually think, peels back the layers and lifts the veil on how we as individuals, but also as leaders in organizations, can build a culture, build a team anchored in trust. So that's the first thing. Okay, I'm going to give you just a couple of tips on how you can actually become known for being a trustworthy person. The first is to be authentic. You know, many of us know that we work with people who are not always everything they say they are. And, you know, this is the old adage, do what you say you're going to do, be who you say you are, be authentic. And I love to use the values that we choose as individuals as the bedrock for being authentic. All of you, I'm sure, have worked in some sort of a workshop where you've actually established the values that are most important to you, and perhaps you've done that for your teams as well. But whatever your values are, whether it's your family, your faith, your friends, integrity, contribution, fulfillment, growth, supporting others, whatever your value set is, be authentic to that and let that be your North Star. So that is the first tip. And that sounds so basic, I know, but I'm here to tell you, coaching people for a living now for the last 16 years, I coach so many people who wear masks and they put on a facade, and that is not sustainable, number one. It is not authentic, number two, and number three, it absolutely will erode any sort of trust that you are trying to establish with the people that you work. Okay, the second tip Talk straight, be deliberate, share openly and with transparency. I use an adage with my clients, share early and often, give feedback early and often. Don't hold anything back with your people. You know, having that spirit of transparency, your people then will know that if there's something that is important that is going on in the company or in the industry, or perhaps even with a competitor, you are going to become known for being transparent about that. And that just takes a load off the people with whom you work, because they know that you're not going to hold anything back. You're going to be open with them, and there's not going to be any behind closed door conversations that are going to happen that are going to leave them in the dark. So that is the second point. Talk straight, share openly and with transparency, and don't be afraid to tell them the way it is, because you know that that's how you want to be treated, and that's the good old platinum rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you if you were them. So that's the second point. Okay. The third point, erase ambiguity. You know, leave nothing to chance, leave nothing to assumptions. And again, to reference the Four Agreements book, that wonderful agreement, make no assumptions. Well, in the absence of a story, another story will most certainly be written. So erase any ambiguity that people might have relative to how you feel, how you're going to measure success, how you're going to reward people. Get very clear on mutually set expectations, what success looks like, and actively listen with people. Actively listen. So when you're talking to people and you're sharing with them what your expectations are, make sure that you check for understanding and you ask and actively listen to their what they're hearing and how they're going to interpret that. That all comes together to create a very open and clear level of understanding of what you need and want from your people, and then erases ambiguity. And that gives you, again, a wonderful foundation for trust. The last thing that I will say, this is the fourth tip. You know, oftentimes we want to be trusted, but yet we are a little bit hesitant to trust others. And one thing I learned early on in my career, and it was kind of a hard lesson, to be honest with you, when you move from an individual contributor to a first line manager, oftentimes you want to hold on too tightly to the reins, and you're less inclined to let people do the job for which you've hired them to do, because you think you can do it better, or you're afraid they might screw it up, or they might not do it to the level of expectation that you have. And what I will tell you is, the moment that you let go of the reins and you hold people accountable to the level of performance or the level of work that you expect, it is unbelievable how people will rise to that occasion. I have been proven correct in that for at least 4 or 5 dozen times in my career, where I had to empower people and trust people to do the job that I wanted them to do, and to give them all the support that I could, certainly knock down bowling pins if they ran into obstacles, but just trusting that they're going to do the work for which you've hired them to do. And that trust breeds trust. So that is the fourth tip. When you give away trust and you give away control, you gain trust and you gain control. That's just the way of the universe. So those are my 4 tips on what I'm going to say is a non-negotiable on how you want to stand out and how you can market yourself in whatever field you are contributing. Having that reputation and that brand of being trustworthy and having a trusted posse of individuals with whom you work, that will absolutely distinguish you, and it will be a very effective way for you to market yourself in whatever arena you find yourself. So hopefully this has been helpful to you. Again, for those of y'all whom I've not had the opportunity to meet, my name is Kristen Kaufman. We come on here every couple of days with Have a Seat with Kristen to share insights, tips and techniques on how to become the most effective leader we can be, and to create the aligned career and life that we want. Most of these topics are topics that my clients have asked me to cover. So if you have something that you would like for me to cover, please comment below. And also feel free to follow me on YouTube, where these videos will be posted and you can go back and look at them at your convenience. With that, make it a great day wherever you are, and I'll see you right back here for another episode of Have a Seat with Kristen in the next couple of days.